everybody, this is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about the new Season 1 gameplay for MW3 Zombies, some secrets from Treyarch that you don't want to miss, plus even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and also as a reminder, we got plenty of brand new coverage going up over on detonated.com, expanding on all the content you're seeing here on the channel, just in the form of articles on the website, and plenty of tweets every single hour on Detonated's Twitter. Now, earlier today, there was a ton of marketing released for Season 1 of MW3. I want to thank all you guys for tuning into my gameplay stream where we went ahead and completed Act 3, the boss fight for MW3 Zombies. Then we went ahead and reacted to the new Black Cell gameplay trailer. There was a new Battle Pass blog post detailing a bunch of the store offerings for our first season. Then there was a surprise trailer also dropped for Season 1 of Zombies. Now, as a reminder, we'll be live tomorrow morning with the launch and reaction to Season 1 of the entire game. We'll be live pretty early in the morning going through a read of the patch notes, then jumping straight into Zombies, followed by some Urzikstan Battle Royale. Hope to see you guys there, of course. But a couple of days ago, there was a private creator briefing about Season 1 of MW3, in which some select creators got to go ahead and hear some information from Raven about Warzone, Treyarch about Zombies, and a little bit from Sledgehammer about MW3 multiplayer. Now, during that briefing, a bunch of new information was learned, which was not actually explicitly talked about in the recent blog post for our first season. So first off, as a huge reminder, there will not be a reset with your act missions or your inventory stash with Season 1. I know they did this twice in DMZ where they just reset your mission progress, your entire inventory. They're not going to be doing that with Zombies, and I doubt that they ever will, especially considering it's not a PvPvE experience. It's only PvE. So once Season 1 begins, you're still going to keep all your mission progress, your schematics, your acquisitions, anything else you might have looted around the environment. Hopefully that is very clear. But as a big reminder, when it comes to Season 1, Act 4 is about to be introduced. Now, you don't have to complete Acts 1 through 3 to actually hop into Act 4, which is a bit surprising. I would have expected that they would have wanted you to go ahead and complete the previous acts to access the next one, but I guess it's also cool for those out there that might have got the game late, or for those that are about to get it for Christmas. You're not going to be missing out on the Season 1 update, which includes the Dark Aether Rifts. Now, for those out there wondering how Act 4 is going to work, apparently it is a story mission right out the gate when you go into a Dark Aether Rift, but it's unclear how many missions are attached to Act 4. We're going to learn all of that tomorrow with the full release. For those wondering what happened to that rumored Fear of the Dark main quest is going to be added in, I'm a little confused if Fear of the Dark is the name of Act 4. I think that kind of would make sense because you're afraid of the dark and you're going into the Dark Aether. That would make sense, or that could just be a main quest that is being saved for a future update entirely, possibly with Season 2 or later. I think by now we would have heard if there was a main quest by now, but there might be something that they teased which could imply a main quest is just around the corner, and essentially what that is an icon that we were shown during that creator briefing, which they didn't elaborate on at all, nor did they tease over on social media or in the recent blog post. It was a devilish looking icon, and they didn't say much about it. You would think that it represents a giant boss or a huge objective in the Urzikstan environment, not an icon that we've seen before, so it's unclear if that's an icon referring to a main quest or some other secret that's going to be added to Urzikstan, which again they have not marketed as of today. Now, what's also crazy about the Dark Aether is that there will be two different versions of it, which again weren't explicitly talked about in any of the recent marketing. So what you want to do is find sigils in the high threat zone reward rifts around Urzikstan, and once you have those, that'll allow you to enter the Dark Aether via the rifts. Now, if you guys go into the Dark Aether and you find Elder Sigils, it's not clear how you could actually find those. That will allow you to access a harder Dark Aether experience, which I believe is going to make it feel like a tier 4 type of zone. When you initially spawn into the Dark Aether though, I feel like the zombies will probably be somewhere around tier 2 in terms of how difficult they are, not tier 3 or higher, but there's essentially a hardcore mode inside of the Dark Aether, which I think is going to really scratch the itch for those out there that want a crazy challenge in Zombies or want something traditional like high rounds in a round-based experience. Now, sigils can be saved in your stash for future infills, which is really damn important, and I do apologize in a previous video, I pronounced it Seagull. I was on no sleep, so I apologize for mispronouncing that. It's sigils, not the seagulls like we saw in Blood of the Dead through that main quest. But then we got a gameplay trailer earlier today for Season 1 of Zombies. I did not expect Treyarch to post this on their YouTube channel. They haven't posted on their channel in quite some time, but you can clearly see a storm is coming to Urzikstan. We can see what looks like a clip of a cinematic cutscene involving Jansen. She might be hearing voices from Samantha. We know she's schizophrenic according to recent intel and other in-game evidence that we've seen, so that's gonna be cool to see if we end up getting a cinematic cutscene at the end of this supposed Act 4. We see the Aether Worm again. I'm wondering if will now be some heavy boss that roams around Urzikstan and the Dark Aether, separate from the giant worm that we see at the end of Act 3. We'll have to wait and see. We'll also get gameplay of the Dark Aether Blade, which is certainly a modern-day Hell's Retriever that ricochets off of nearby zombies and will boomerang back to you. It's unclear if it can actually go ahead and pick up power-ups for you, but this is again a form of lethal equipment, not a weapon that you can pack a punch. Hopefully that's clear. We then get new footage of the VR11 in action, right? A new version of the wonder weapon that we saw in Black Ops 1's Call of the Dead. It has the ability, of course, to turn zombies into mercenary AI, or it could turn mercenary AI into brain-rotted zombies. So it should be a lot more useful than the original version we had in 2011. Dark Aether rifts, though, as you can see, are pretty massive. So once you find those sigils, you'll probably know exactly where to go around the map to go ahead and access the Dark Aether. And once you're in the Dark Aether, you can clearly tell this is Al Bagra Fortress from Al Mazrah. It's unclear if there'll be a story explanation as to why we're in Al Mazrah when we enter the Dark Aether. Who knows what the explanation is going to be there, but either way, reuse assets or not, it's content. I'd rather them, release what they're doing now and then save all the resources on newer maps for, another exclusion zone entirely in MW3 or Black Ops 2024 zombies altogether. We see what looks like a quick aim ability with the ray gun. I wasn't aware that you can fast draw it. I don't believe that's ever been a feature in MW3 to date, so it's clearly a new Season 1 update that we'll be seeing here with the Dark Aether rifts. And then on top of that, difficulty of the zombies does seem like it's around maybe tier 1, tier 2 level, nothing too difficult. I don't know if we get any footage here of what looks like a hardcore mode that we're going to be able to access with those Elder Dark Aether sigils, but then we look at what appears to be the Escort Rover contract being activated. So I do believe once you're in this Dark Aether rift, you're going to go ahead and have access to a bunch of contracts around the environments, which are probably going to be a little more difficult than the ones you could do in Urzikstan, of course, but it was clarified during the creator briefing that, once again, you do have a separate timer as if it was a story act mission. So if you play all the way to the end of a match of Urzikstan zombies and you go into a Dark Aether rift, your timer will now be, I think it's 30 or so minutes when you're in the Dark Aether, separate from that previous match that you were just in on Urzikstan. At the end of the trailer, we get to see Mr. Peaks, and what looks like our first glimpse of a rift run. It was mentioned in the recent marketing for zombies, but wasn't really clarified at all in the creator briefing or in the Season 1 blog post. Now, for those concerned about disconnecting in matches of Modern Warfare 3 zombies and losing all of your precious inventory, luckily Treyarch is working on something to help preserve your items. I know whenever I've disconnected from servers, I have saved my content, but what about other issues, right? Where you have a severe game crash, or your Windows blue screens, or you have a power outage, Xfinity has an outage. I mean, think about all those other scenarios where you'd be disconnected from a long match of zombies or you have valuable loot. Apparently something is in the works to help you preserve all of that content. So whatever the issue was during the launch window or preseason where people out there were losing everything, that is going to be fixed relatively soon. Probably not with the launch of Season 1, but hopefully no later than Season 1 Reloaded, which is going to be in early January of 2024. Now, there's also clarification provided about Exfils inside of MW3 zombies. So Treyarch went ahead and confirmed during the creator briefing that they are not happy with having to have nerfed the Exfil spawns, since the whole point was to make it as hectic as possible. But as they went ahead and said specifically in the call, we aren't against fun, but due to player behavior being altered significantly, people were abusing it, which led to many issues, such as server stability problems, right? And that's a #1 problem with server stability, is people out there spamming those Exfil spawns for the sake of grinding out weapon levels, and then right there, people out there were crashing, causing lag for the whole server. That's not what they want, obviously, so I'm sure they're working in the back end to find a good, happy medium where they could still have a lot of zombies spawn in from Exfils, but not have it to where it becomes some type of meta to farm your weapon levels, and then that could ensure smooth server stability. But they want to confirm that zombie spawns at Exfils will be increased in season, so again, probably towards maybe the end of December or early with Season 1 Reloaded in some point in January. They said that final Exfils will also have significant boost of enemies and enemy types. Season 1 launch will also add elite enemies to the Exfil spawns. So with that in mind, I think what they're going to end up doing is maybe having zombies worth a decent amount of XP at the final Exfil, but then the earlier Exfils you can do throughout the match probably don't have that many zombies, or zombies that are worth that much XP. That's probably how they'll end up balancing it out, and we'll just have to wait and see what they're going to end up doing with that. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the Season 1 gameplay we got for MW3 Zombies via the new trailer that Treyarch went ahead and posted? How you feeling about the exclusive details from the creator briefing, plus everything else we discussed? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.